Good morning, children. Last class I have discussed with you about the morphological characters of hydrophytes and its anatomical physiological characters also I have discussed with you. Sorry. And now I am going to discuss with about xerophytes, and xerophytes also the types I discussed with you. Based on the habitat, xerophytes are divided into two types. Now I am enter into based on adaptive characters. Xerophytes are classified into three categories. They are ephemerals, succulents and non-succulent plants. Ephemerals, these are also called drought escapers or drought evaders. These plants complete their life cycle within a short period, that is in single season. These are not true xerophytes. Example Argemone, Molugo, Tribulus and Tephrosia. So, this ephemerals is an drought escapers. That means it will not cut off by the drought. It finish up life cycle within a short period, that means in only one lifespan, only single season. So example for this ephemeral xerophytes are Argemone, Molugo, Tribulus, Tephrosia, etc. And next one is succulents. These are also called drought enduring plants. These plants store water in their plant parts during the dry period. These plants develop certain adaptive character to resist extreme drought condition. Examples Opuntia, Aloe, Bryophyllum and Pegonia. So, succulent plant, these are also called drought enduring plants. These plants store the excess water in their plant's part during that to manage the dry condition of their period. These plants develop certain adaptive character to resist extreme drought condition. Example Opuntia, Aloe, Bryophyllum, Begonia. And non-succulent plant, these are also called drought resistant plant, that is called true xerophytes. Okay, which one is called true xerophytes? Non-succulent plant. They face both external and internal dryness. They have many adaptations to resist dry condition. Example Casuarina, Nerium, Ziziphus, Acacia. And its morphological adaptations. Morphological adaptation of xerophytes, first we will see about root. Roots of xerophyte is well developed and is greater than that of shoot system. Root hair and root caps are also well developed. Next, stem. Stems are mostly hardy and woody. They may be aerial or underground. The stems and leaves are covered with wax coating or covered with dense hair to avoid the transpiration, and not to avoid, to reduce the transpiration. In some xerophytes, all the internodes in the stem are modified into fleshy leaf structure called pillowclades. To mark question, what is pillowclade, and another one cladode and pillode. In pillowclade we can see in the Opuntia. In some xerophytes, all the internodes in the stem are modified into a fleshy leaf structure called pillowclades. Example for pillowclades is Opuntia. That is, in Opuntia you cannot see any node and internodal region. The nodal regions are transferred into a fleshy leaf like structure. In some of the other single or occasionally two internodes modified into fleshy green structure called cladode. Example asparagus. In some of the others, single or occasionally two internodes are modified into a fleshy green structure and called cladode. So, in some the petiole is modified into a fleshy leaf like structure called pillode. Example acacia, melanoxylon. So, here you have 2 mark question, children. Pillowclades, cladodes, pillodes with example. Okay, mark it and go for 2 mark question. Then succulent xerophytes, example pillowclades, it's a given diagram, refer it. And in leaves, leaves of xerophytes are generally leathery and shiny to reflect light and heat. In some plants like Euphorbia, Acacia, Ziziphus and Caparis, the stipules are modified into spines. Stipules are modified into spines. So, and the entire leaves are modified into spines in Opuntia are reduced to scale as in asparagus. Okay, this is what anatomical and morphological adaptation in leaves of xerophytes. Next, anatomical, it means what? Internal structure, you know already I said. In internally, presence of multi-layered epidermis with a heavy cuticle to prevent water loss due to transpiration. Usually, in other xerophytes and hydrophytes, the layer of epidermal cell are only single layer only. But in xerophytes, epidermis are made up of many layers and also covered with cuticle to avoid the transpiration or reduce the transpiration. Hypodermis is well developed with sclerenchymatous tissues. Okay, it has hypodermis below the epidermis. It is a well developed sclerenchymatous tissue, that is dead cells. Then sunken stomata are present only in the lower epidermis with hairs in the sunken pits. Sunken stomata means what? The stomata which is embedded inside, that is called what? Sunken stomata, and which also present in the lower surface of the epidermis only, and this sunken pits has a hairs. Then scotoactive type of stomata found in succulent plant. Vascular bundles are well developed with several layers of bundle sheath. Mesophyll is well differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma. In succulents, the stem possesses a water storage region. Okay. This is anatomical character. Next, we are going to see about physiological adaptation. Most of the physiological process are designed to reduce transpiration. Life cycle is completed within a short period. Example, ephemerals. Okay. So, most of the physiological process are designed to reduce transpiration. Since it is xerophytes, the physiological process are designed to avoid or reduce the water usage. Next, mesophytes, the plants which are living in moderate condition, neither too wet nor too dry, are known as mesophytes. These are common land plants, example maize and hibiscus. So, morphological adaptation of mesophytes, root system is well developed with root caps and root hairs. Okay. Stems are generally aerial, stout, highly and branched. Leaves are generally large, broad, thin with different shapes. These are morphological adaptation. Anatomical adaptations, cuticle in aerial parts are moderately developed. Epidermis is well developed and stomata are generally present on both the epidermis. Okay. Mesophyll is differentiated into palisade and spongy parenchyma. Mesophyll, what is mesophyll? The structure which is present in between the upper and lower epidermis is called mesodermis, and vascular and mechanical tissues are fairly developed and well differentiated. Next one is physiological adaptation. All physiological processes are normal. Temporary wilting take place at room temperature when there is water scarcity. That's it about water physiological adaptation of mesophytes. This is a 5-mark question, children. What are mesophytes? Mention its morphological, anatomical and physiological adaptation is a 5-mark question. Please note it and do it. Then next one is tropophytes or plants which behave as xerophytes at summer and behave as mesophytes or hydrophytes during rainy season. 2-mark question. What are tropophytes? Tropophytes means the plants which behave as xerophytes at summer and behave as mesophytes or hydrophytes during rainy season, that is called tropophytes. Epiphytes are plants which grow perched or on other plants, that is supporting plants. They are the main supporting plants only as shelter and not for water or food supply. These epiphytes are commonly seen in tropical rainforest, example orchids, lianas, hanging mosses and money plants. Okay. Epiphytes already we have seen, that is a plant which live on other plant but only for its residents only, not for water and minerals. Okay, for example, for this orchids, lianas, hanging mosses and money plant. Next, morphological adaptation of epiphytes. Morphological adaptation, root system is extensively developed. These roots may be of two types. There are clinging roots and aerial roots. What is clinging roots? Differentiate between clinging and aerial roots to Marcosin. Clinging roots fix the epiphytes firmly on the surface of the supporting object. If epiphytes live on the supporting plant, the clinging roots fix the epiphytes into the objects of supporting plants. Okay, and aerial roots are green colored roots which may hang downwardly and absorb moisture from the atmosphere with the help of spongy tissue called velamen. This is called what? Aerial roots. Aerial roots are green in color which may hang downwardly and absorb moisture from the atmosphere with the help of a special type of tissue called spongy tissue. The spongy tissue called velamen. Stem of some epiphytes are succulent and develop pseudo bulb or tuber. Generally, the leaves are lesser in number and may be fleshy and leathery. Then myrmecophily is a common occurrence in the epiphytic vegetation to prevent the predators. Myrmecophily is a common occurrence in the epiphytic vegetation to prevent the predators. The fruits and seeds are very small and usually dispersed by wind, insects and birds. Next, anatomical adaptations. Multi-layered epidermis is present inner to the velamen tissues. Okay, inside the velamen tissue, it has a multi-layered epidermal tissues. The peculiar exodermis layer is present. Presence of thick cuticle and succulent stomata greatly reduces transpiration. Succulent epiphytes contain well developed parenchymatous cells to store water. Physiological adaptation, special absorption process of water by velamen tissues. So velamen, you know very well, velamen tissue which absorb the water, which is a special type of tissue. Then halophytes. There are special type of halophytic plants which grow on soil with high concentration of salt. The plant which grow on the soil, which the soil has a high concentration of salt, is called halophytes. Example, Rhizopora, Sonaratia and Avicennia. Halophytes are usually found near the seashores and estuaries. The soils are physically wet but physiologically dry. As plants cannot use salt water directly, they require filtration of salt using physiological process. This vegetation is also known as mangrove forest and the plants are called mangroves. Okay, children. Halophytes are usually found near the seashores and estuaries. Here only these plants are present and the soils are physiologically wet but physically wet but physiologically dry. As plants cannot use salt water directly. So, since they cannot use the salt water directly, they require filtration of salt using physiological processes. This vegetation is also known as mangrove forest and the plants are also called mangroves. Next, morphological adaptation. The temperate halophytes are herbaceous, but the tropical halophytes are mostly bushy. In addition to the normal roots, many stilt roots are developed. Special type of negatively geotrophic roots called pneumatophores with nematodes to get sufficient aeration are also present. They are called breathing roots. Example, Avicennia. Presence of thick cuticle on the aerial parts of the plant body. That is aerial parts, you know very well, root, stem, leaves. These are, stem, branch, leaves are aerial parts of the plant. These parts are covered with a thick cuticle. And leaves are thick, entire, succulent and glossy. Some species are aphyllous. Aphyllous means what? Without leaves. Okay. So leaves are thick. Entire means what? Full. There is no compound leaves. Simple leaves. Entire. Succulent. It store water and glassy. Some species are aphyllous. Aphyllous means what? Without leaves. Viviparous modes of seed germination is found in halophytes. Next, anatomical adaptation. Epidermal cells of stem is heavy, cutinized, almost squarish and are filled with oil and tannins. Star-shaped sclerites and H-shaped heavy thickened spicules that provide mechanical strength to cortex are present in the stem. The leaves may be dorsiventral or isobilateral with salt secreting glands. Okay, that's it. Star shaped sclerites and H shaped heavy thickened spicules that provide mechanical strength to cortex are present in the stem. Okay, and next one is physiological adaptation. High osmotic pressure exists in some plants. Seeds germinate in the fruits while on the mother plant. Seeds germinate in the fruits while on the mother plant, vivipary. Then dispersal of fruits and seeds. So this is a new topic, children. So we are entering into a dispersal of fruits and seeds topic. Both fruits and seeds possess attractive color, odors, shape and taste needed for the dispersal by birds, mammals, reptiles, fish, ants and insects, even earthworms. The seed consists of an embryo, stored food material and a productive covering called seed coat. As seed contain miniature but dormant future plants, their dispersal is an important criterion for distribution and establishment of plants over a wide geographical area. So this is what reason why seed dispersal has taken place. Okay, a seed contain Yes, right. A seed contain miniature, that is the embryo is called a miniature, which is present inside the seed, which is a miniature for future plant. Okay. This dispersal is an important. Why? Criterion for distribution and establishment of plants over a wide geographical area. So, to dispersal of plants to the wide geographical area, the seeds should be dispersed to various parts of the plant. The dissemination of seeds and fruits to various distance from the parent plant is called seed and fruit dispersal. Dissemination of seeds and fruits to various distances from the parent plant, and this is called what? Seed and fruit dispersal. It takes place with the help of ecological factors such as wind, water and animal. It takes place with the help of ecological factors such as wind, water and animals. Seed dispersal is a regeneration process of plant population and a common means of colonizing new areas, so to avoid seedling level competition and from natural enemies like herbivores, fungivores and pathogens. So seed dispersal is a regeneration process of plant population and a common means of colonizing new area to avoid seedling level competition and from natural enemies like herbivores, fungivores and pathogens. Fruit maturation and seed dispersal is influenced by many ecologically favorable conditions such as season, suitable environment and seasonal availability of dispersal agents like birds, insects, etc. Seeds require agents for dispersal which are crucial in plant community dynamics in many ecosystems around the globe. They offer many benefits to communities such as food, nutrient migration, migration of seeds across habitat and help spreading plant genetic diversity. Dispersal by wind. The seed dispersal has taken place by many agents. The dispersal of seed by wind is called anemochory. So then the individual seeds or whole fruit may be modified to help for the dispersal by wind. Wind dispersal of fruit and seed is quite common in tall trees. The adaptation of wind dispersal plants are minute seeds, wings. Minute seeds, the see you know very well, when a seed should be carried by wind, its weight should be light, So minute seeds are minute, very small, light and with inflated covering, example orchids. Wings, seeds or whole fruits are flattened to form a wing, example maple, gyrocarpus, dipterocarpus and terminalia. same thing you see children, see the other examples please you go through. What are the various adaptation they have for the dispersal by wind, that is feathery appendages, sensor mechanism, and next dispersal by water is called hydrochory. How water seeds are dispersed by water, and with the example what are the adaptations it has, dispersal by animals and dispersal by explosive mechanism. All please you see to it children. Human aided seed dispersal, advantages of seed dispersal, you go through by yourself children, because this you already you learnt in your 10th standard. It is a basic only. So you complete, you go through it and complete it and keep, and in this lesson you will have so many kinds of questions. Okay, so you go through it and keep it in your mind. Okay, right? Bye. I will get you in my next class. Bye.